Right, loud. Right, welcome everybody. So it's 2 p.m., so slightly different to normal. We are going to be going through the US, US session, and to see obviously what is happening, where, why, how. So let's obviously have a little bit of a look. I would say just on the outlook of today, it's a bit of a dollar kind of recorrection afternoon. I don't particularly think the dollar is weak. I just think that it's been pumping pretty hard. And yeah, it's due a correction, like everything. So we'll wait and see obviously what the afternoon has to offer, but that's what it's looking like for me. Dollars still up for the day. And one thing that I wanted to point out, and obviously this is one thing that I'm not, saying to trade off of these, but look how obviously big the range was during Asia. All right, this was yesterday, right? And obviously these are just things to keep an eye on here. All right, when you have a big Asian range, you tend to have a smaller London. All right, it trades within its self. So we obviously had a little bit of a slower kind of Asian range here today or last night. Therefore London is a little bit more active, but I think dollar wise overall is kind of holding where it is. I do think we're probably going to stay within this region here. We don't have a lot coming out if we look at what's been happening here. ADP pretty much a little bit down on employment, but that's obviously what we've been expecting because non-farm payroll numbers weren't that great. Trade balance is slightly better, but nothing major. And obviously imports and exports, we obviously know that they're going to be hurt, slightly, but it's not really that kind of interesting. We do have New York consumer inflation expectations, Atlanta GDP. Nothing's really gonna, do anything crazy today. So one thing there's a couple of things that I'm going to do today. One of them is I think it's going to be good to do another video on my kind of story because obviously I want to drill it into everyone what I had to do to obviously to get where I am and almost reset my brain. So I'm gonna do that a bit later on. And then there was one more thing I was gonna do, but yeah, I'm gonna have a proper deep dive tonight, see if I can see anything that potentially might be coming up in regards to the US and Iran because it's all kind of on. It's very tentative, but it's yeah, it's still obviously like a pot that's brewing, and obviously that's what's holding off my markets, in a big way. Yields here, still holding high, but nothing kind of crazy. Do I think they can break out higher? Probably not. I don't think there is that much confidence that obviously it's going to push them back into our kind of danger, area here. So they are holding below, and it just goes to show how obviously on point these levels are here. Because every time it comes up, rejects, comes up, rejects, comes up, rejects. It's not managed to push through this 4.5% here. Stock market's a bit all over the place. We've got obviously US 100 just over 1% down. We got SPX 500 0.28% down, and then we got US 30 screaming higher. I mean, this is just crazy, stock market high. I'm just going to double check my um, SpaceX stock. I'm still pretty happy here. Um, I bought in on this yellow line here on this recap here, expecting obviously it to pump up to this 250 mark here. I'd be pretty happy then. Anyway, right, let's go through, some of the things that we've been looking at first, but last, first but not last. I don't know. Right, macro report. You guys should all have access to this. I recommend once a new trading, session starts, we, generate a report and then just obviously go through it. I've had some really, really good feedback from you guys, in regards to obviously slowly reading through it every day. It's obviously helping and it's, helping you to kind of gauge, what to look out for, what not to look out for here. So we've obviously got good trading conditions. Today, break down the New York session is trading on inherited London momentum. Gold is down 0.34%, but holding critical support zone. So what I would do instantly is mark this, level up this 4150 here, So make sure you obviously mark that one up. Let me just, I don't want that on that one. Make sure you mark that one up here, which is pretty much where our area is, So I'm pretty happy there. I'm looking for us to kind of fade into this area and then continue to the upside. That's what I'm looking for here. So, right, going back to it, so obviously breakdowns on different pairs here, steady grind market mood meter. We've obviously then got our cards here, our trade cards, and obviously these have been pretty much on point. If you did check this morning's, you could have traded between them, but obviously this will give you a nice brief outlook of of what to kind of look out for here, and it even grades the clarity on the pairs too. So USD JPY has been quite clean. So let's start off with Aussie. Still not really interested in trading it. There's not a lot of news and data coming out of Australia at the moment, so it's quite hard to gauge. I think it's support, its momentum to the upside is being driven by gold. Gold has made up a bit of ground over the last week or two, and obviously, what does that do? That drags up Aussie. So it's why I've kind of stayed clear. We haven't had an Aussie trade in ages. Uh, GBP here, just about to trigger. We got heavy level of support here, so I'm expecting this to bounce, in between this area. We did have a quiet day yesterday. Only one trade triggered. Strangely enough, if we'd have left all of our afternoon triggers in play during Asia, they would have all hit TPP. So yeah, maybe we shouldn't look to close them, but GBP USD should be pretty much triggering. So I'm obviously happy with this. We've kept our stops nice and tight. We've only got 19 pips from the middle here. Euro staying away from gold here. Yep, happy with this area. We do have strength. We've cleared this previous high. Let's have a look at it on a 2 hour. I'd be a bit more comfortable if this 2 hour breaks above here. And then I could, see gold continuing higher. Next obviously challenge is going to be these ones here. So obviously that's what we're going to be looking out for. I would like this to trigger. However, I'm not sure we're going to get back down into that area, but that's what I'm looking at here on gold anyway. And then last but not least, USD JPY here. We were a bit unlucky this morning. I think our entry zone was about here. And then our stops were quite tight. Probably should have had them a bit wider. It was something a bit like this earlier. I think our TP was somewhere like this. and then our stop was about here. So just got stopped out, and then it pumped up. But I actually think we're going to see USD JPY tailing off to the downside. I just want it to come in and test this area here. That's what I would like. I'd like it to pop up, test this area, and then continue to the downside here. So, brief kind of, push up from the dollar, and then I'd like it to probably end the afternoon somewhere around here. Oh, that's where I'd like it to kind of end the afternoon, but let's wait and see, what happens here. I don't see, that there is, major dollar strength. If we do look at, for example, RSI, I think we're going to, see that it's pretty much, daily. It needs to correct. And I think that that is what's happening. We should see an overall correction into this kind of area here. Gold, still has space to pump. I'm not going to write off us probably finishing the week round here. I do see gold kind of recovering. So we'll obviously need to trade it a bit carefully. But yeah, let's wait and see what happens here. I would love this just to tap us in and go this afternoon. That would be great. And then I would like to see during the US session it clear these areas here. So then let's wait and see what happens. Right, let's have a look at some of these questions here. So make sure obviously you get your questions in. Greg, how's the jet lag? Yeah, not too bad. I, I was on the flight at 2:30. Slept about probably 6 hours of it. Woke up with an hour left, had my breakfast, and then I'm here. So I'm tired, but not too bad. I'm gonna go and hit some golf balls a bit later on because obviously I left my golf clubs at home, so I'm obviously looking forward to doing that. Just a quick one, and obviously write it in the comments. How's everyone enjoying the macro tool? Is it helping? So just put yes, or I haven't really used it much, or no, it's not helping at all. Just write that in the chat. Ian, yes, it's great. Cooper, yes. All right, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Um, uh, Titus just got in and looks great. A little bit like the Matrix. Yeah, so what you want to do is, yeah, everyone's using it. Could do with a fewer trades. Well, that's the goal of this. Basically, the reason why I built it is because why not? Wanted to. I understand with macros. It's a bit like back testing a trading strategy, but it's a bit hard. So what I wanted to create was a bit of software which will help you every day understand what the trading conditions are like, what are the general habits of gold or GBP USD, and yeah, really kind of break it down every single day. So even if you don't do a lot, with this, in regards to obviously it helping you trade, then yeah, you want to just make a note of obviously, whether it's a mental note every single day to, kind of make sure that you're, learning and yeah, hopefully over time you can obviously implement, macros and stuff a bit more. Let's have a look. Kingston, really helpful, gives entry ideas and direction. Ian, need to use it more as well, just keeping up with a few in a circle at short time frames. Yeah, I've basically half the group wanted wanted more trades. So I thought rather than us clouding, what I'm obviously trying to do here. I've, split the group up, so I've put that as almost like a added one. So yeah, that's one where, stops are obviously smaller and it's just there for everyone who was happy because every time I put, does everyone want lower time frame trades as much as I might be anti it? Probably I get about 60% of people messaging me, telling me obviously how much they enjoy it. iPhone 4 will need BTC in. Yeah, I'm gonna look to obviously add a bit of crypto. I might add a crypto page. So rather than confuse it here, I might. That's quite a good idea, actually. I'll add like a crypto page here, but I'll base it purely on Bitcoin only. Phil, yes, it's really good. Just need to keep on generating and learning the lingo. Um, did you do a video on it all? Yeah, yes, but I am constantly tweaking it, constantly changing it. I've taken quite a few of the complicated bits out. I think like this is the trading conditions. This is a beginner friendly breakdown of obviously what to look out for, for obviously the New York, session and obviously what to watch. It's brilliant here for obviously, I've made sure it's going to give you, levels and stuff which are going to help. Um, and then it's going to break down all the pairs. And then obviously we've got our trading tools here, or trading cards here. And obviously if there's anything here, you can ask them a question. Yeah. All right. Right, Titus. When you do the USD JPY outlet, everything is bullish. When will this stay? How long will that run go? Why are we shorting it? Maybe too many questions. Right, so USD JPY. Let's get on to USD JPY. Here we go. So just about to trigger here. All right. Well, why are we shorting USD JPY? Well, there was rumors of obviously this intervention here. Yeah. All right. Dollar in particular, is up. Yeah. All right. But USD JPY hasn't pushed up as much as obviously what, dollar has. If you look at dollar, it's, low obviously was here. It's now trading here. If we look at obviously USD JPY, there's quite a big gap here, and obviously we call this divergence between pairs. So I do see a bit of a correction, even if let me take some of these lines off of here. So I do see a bit of a correction, even if we're only coming into these highs here. I think that's where USD JPY right now should be trading this kind of area here. So I'm hoping we obviously pop up, grab some more orders here, and then obviously continue into this kind of area here. That is what I'm, hoping for and obviously looking out for. But I do feel, it's been going on for a while. I do think that USDJPY is particularly overbought. You can see here how overbought it is, and obviously, if the Bank of Japan are going to intervene, they're going to do it over stages because they don't want to utilize all of their money. All right, so if you imagine they've put their money up, and obviously made this here. All right, they've then potentially closed majority of their positions and they're going to let market take it back up here. Yeah, which is kind of where we are here. So if they have intervened, we should see them buying down here. All right, huge moves though, like this, like this. All right, but obviously they're very smart, so then they'll let market drift it back up. All right, and then obviously they'll have one big execution here. but they've made money. They've made this amount of money here, and they'll have made this amount of money here. Yeah, because they bought from here, and sold here, so then they can utilize all of this to really flood it, and obviously get it back to where they want it to be. That's kind of how an intervention works. So, it isn't done. Everyone, is expecting it just to be one huge move, but it doesn't quite work like that. They've got to, you know, test markets, let it come back up, test markets, let it come, and obviously they're quite smart, they obviously want to be making money out of it, but drive it down to the right price and obviously hold it there. But they can't do that, without doing it gradually because it's pretty dangerous and it sounds easy, but it's a very, very, very tricky, kind of process how they intervene. It's not them just, buying it. They've got to integrate it, slowly. So yeah. Um, Cool. Yeah, yeah. Right. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to end it here. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I obviously appreciate you, logging in, and obviously we'll be back to completely, normal times tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be live again at 8 a.m. So have a good one, team. Have a good one.